Hello, everyone. Today, we're bringing you a very special edition of the 90 Day Fiancé Honestly podcast. Amy and I are so excited to welcome David Dangerfield, beloved cast member of Before the 90 Days Season 6. David and Sheila not only captured our hearts with their unique love story, but he also made an impact as the show's first deaf cast member. His journey has explored the challenges and triumphs of navigating international romance while breaking barriers. Before we start, a brief note to our listeners and our viewers. The audio-only version of this podcast will feature the voice of David's translator, while the video version will allow those of you who know sign language to see David's responses in real time. For that reason, the audio podcast will be shorter than the video, as we'll be removing any silences that occur while the translator is communicating with David. Finally, on a personal note, it gives us the greatest pleasure to talk with David, someone who has shown 90 Day audiences true and heartfelt feelings, and who, along with Sheila, have had one of the most memorable and touching love stories in the history of the series. With David and Sheila, you just knew the feelings were honest and real. And after all, isn't that why we tune into reality TV? Now it gives me the greatest pleasure to welcome David Dangerfield to the 90 Day Fiancé Honestly podcast. Hello, David. Welcome.
Hi, how are you guys doing? I'm really happy to be here and happy to meet you guys. And I'm happy you guys were good watching the show. And, yeah, it really is great, talk about honesty and love. And there's some sadness there. There's good times, bad times, everything.
Yeah. We're doing
We're
great.
so very excited. So very excited to have you.
Amy, why don't you take it away?
All right. So how did you find out about the 90 Day Fiancé show?
Well, I was watching the second interpreter big bed. Yeah, big bed. And I was watching this pretty funny show, and it was pretty disappointing to watch it. And then the couple in the show broke up, and then there was a lot of other people who joined on the show, and they had all these different people, these different couples on the show. So that's kind of how I first started seeing it.
Interesting. So then what made you want to go on the show?
Well, I really enjoyed watching the show, and I like seeing other deaf people on TV, and I thought, why not try to get on the show and see if I could do it. And really, actually waited for 3 years after I initially showed interest, and then I did an interview and actually applied 3 different times, and the third time I was successful and got on the show.
That's
I didn't know
incredible.
that. Yeah.
I'm floored that it took so long for them to accept you. I would have thought that your and Sheila's story was such a natural one that fits so easily into the 90 Day Fiancé format that they would have said yes at the first opportunity.
Yeah, I think that we had already kind of passed we had been in a relationship for over 4 years at that point, so that might have been a factor in their decision.
Okay. We talk a lot on our show about how much the production gets involved in the storylines on 90 Day Fiancé. How much were they involved in your series? And was anything scripted?
Well, when I joined and while I was on, everything was real. They didn't give me any sort of storylines or script. Everything was real. It was our own, actions. Nobody was telling us what to do. you know, we said, you know, I'm going to go buy a ring. And they said, okay. So they followed us out. You know, we were going to go out to eat, and they kind of just followed us around doing our activities. We did, sometimes we would have plans to meet with people, and then we would drive and meet people and talk with people and share our stories and all of that kind of thing. But yeah, no, it was all real. None of it was fake.
That's really good to hear.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So do you think, given that there wasn't any scripting, that your story was accurately portrayed? Your experience was real for the viewers?
Well, the first time everyone came out here, they made some pretty big mistakes, but they actually had to throw part of it out. They just had to restart with it. So it was, you know, it was a good story, but they did not include 100% of everything. You know, they kind of had to shorten some things for TV.
What was this mistake? Is it something you can tell us about?
Well, the first time we went into the store with the cameras, we were talking with the woman, the employee there at the store. It was a toy store. And the woman there didn't realize that I was deaf. And so we were texting back and forth to communicate. And they're taking video of that. And then the next time I went in there with the next time my brother told a story about us racing cars and going around, but on TV, they didn't show some of that. So that's the part they threw out, some of those extra details, extra interactions.
I see.
Okay. Since you were the first deaf person to have been on the show, was it difficult maneuvering through the process of filming with your disability? And how accommodating was production during the filming?
Well, it was definitely tough. First of all, the interview was really tough, you know, since they want to filming the part was, you know, filming your everyday activity and things. That was really a lot easier than the interview. The interview was really difficult.
So,
because there was just a lot of questions in the interview. I think there was like 100 questions and a limited amount of time for the interview. And then once they did the interview, they took that and they tried to see if we were a good match, and they kind of took pieces of that. And so, yeah, that was tough doing all of those questions.
but we know you must have had a translator there helping you to communicate with the production team. Yeah.
We did have an interpreter while they were filming, but they didn't get filmed, so they were kind of in the background. They're always kind of hiding.
Of course. Yeah.
Right.
So let's turn to something a little bit more upbeat. Let's talk about what your favorite part about being on the show was.
When I was on the show, my favorite part. I really like going to the beach. That was really cool, and it was just so pretty there. And we were able to see a lot of fish, and you know, we saw the kind of medium-sized blue ones. And my another favorite thing was dinners with my fiance, and I just really enjoyed uh, meeting all the people there. But honestly, um, it, most people got cut since it was only 25 days. But it was great meeting everyone there, and also I enjoyed sleeping together. That was good, and staying together and able to stay in the same room. And talking with friends, and yeah, all of that was really fun. But it was also very hot there. It was like 100 degrees when we were doing the interview. It was extremely hot.
Yeah. So what in particular was your favorite memory with Sheila, on or off camera?
Hmm. Really, the beach is my favorite memory. Just being at the beach, and we have a lot of good memories of us together at the beach. That was a really memorable experience.
We were talking today, just before you came on, about the time that you took Sheila to the resort and you guys had your proposal dinner there. That was such a romantic holiday that you and Sheila had. At least it came across as so romantic. So I was wondering if maybe that would be your favorite memory with her.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was really enjoyable and fun. But oh my gosh, it was so hot. They didn't have AC there, and we were just sweating. It was hot.
And then do you want to ask him the other burning question that you had?
Well, my husband wants to know because I was describing the scenes that you and Sheila shared to him today, and he wanted to know, have you decided what kind of wine you like?
Hmm. No, I'm just not really that interested in wine. I just like beer.
Yes, yes. But at the resort, I think it was the waitress who asked you if you wanted some wine, and it was just so sweet. It was a really nice moment.
Yeah, I yeah, I just had to show 'em, on my phone to show them communicate that way. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So, were there any important notes from your time on the show with Sheila that we didn't get to see?
Well, and there was a lot of time that we were working, and we mostly just had free time at night in the evening. So that's when I would have time together with her. And that was mostly when we did it. So yeah, I was spending my days working. Um, yeah, so it was really, I think, I had a couple of days off work out of those 25 days. So that was really tough.
Just out of curiosity, David, how many jobs are you working right now? We know that you work really, really hard to make the future with Sheila happen.
Well, I was working full time. I'm working a little less now because I changed my schedule around. So I'm working fewer hours now. And so with one job, and then the other job is still full time.
Okay.
There's still two jobs to make everything work.
Yeah, two different jobs.
So, how have you and Sheila been since the show has aired?
No, I mean, a couple people we have seen the show and they've actually recognized us and wanted to shake hands. A couple people have asked us to get pictures with us, so we've gotten recognized a little bit after the show, but not many people really have watched it out here.
But how has life been in general?
Yeah, everything's been good. Um, mostly just, trying to get all the bills paid and, that's why I'm working 2 jobs and just trying to make sure that, I can support Sheila and her family and, the legal fees are really expensive too. So that's a big thing, big bill.
Right. How is Jean Real and the rest of Sheila's family doing?
Well, her son's going to school now and so otherwise everyone's doing all right and his family's doing well. A few people are still together there. And,
That's good to hear.
Yeah, that's
So
great.
have you been back to the Philippines recently, or do you plan to go soon?
I did go in March. I went back. Um, yeah, just personal visit wasn't included on the show or anything. Nothing was being filmed.
Right. So since filming, have you been back once or twice? How many times?
Well, let's see. So I went for the first time when they were filming, and then I went back another time without any filming.
Okay. Okay. And I'm curious, did your family watch the show when it was on? And if so, how did they react to it?
Yeah, my family and my siblings and my friends all watched it. They thought it was pretty cool that I was on TV, and so yeah, mostly they had nice things to say. And um, yeah, I forget. I'm trying to remember what somebody told me. I mean, it's hard a couple years ago, but yeah, I mean, we made it the show 2 years ago, and then it was not shown until actually a year after we made it. So at this
Okay.
point, it's been 2 years for me.
Hmm.
Did you tell your friends and family before you were on the show? And if so, what was their reaction at that point?
Well, um, I told some people, and they said maybe I shouldn't be involved. And I had some other friends who I asked to come with me, and some of them, the second for the interpreter. I had, some kind of mixed reactions from family, but most of my friends that I told about it thought it was pretty neat and they were supportive.
That's great. And then you mentioned that after the show, you've had um, fans come up and try to shake your hands and get photos. But otherwise, what has it been like since the show's aired with said fans and even on social media?
You know, I see people say things on social media like Instagram or Facebook, and you know, there's a lot of different comments. I've had a lot of people reach out to me, and you know, most people say, "Oh, I like the show. It was really good." So just a lot of comments like that.
One of the things that we saw that you're doing is that you have started a GoFundMe fundraiser with a goal of $150,000 towards a home for you and your family. How's that going?
Well, it's not, you know, the money's for a lot of things. It's, you know, to help with you know, tickets, yeah, for flights, help with marriage, help with the house, it's for a lot of things. And really, we want to wait until Sheila can come here, and then we would start looking for a new home for us, because, you know, and that's when we would start our new life. So, you know, we're trying to figure out if we want to stay here, if we want to move to another state. So really the first step is having her here and getting married, and then we would start looking for a place to live.
So just to be clear, Sheila is not in the US right now. She's still in the Philippines.
Yet she is still in the Philippines.
Okay. Okay.
She's going to be having her interview in October for getting her visa. So,
Oh,
yeah.
great. That's so good to hear.
So she
Wow.
might be coming sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and it's actually the third time that she would have been visited here, because, you know, we wanted to she had to do a lot of medical testing before she comes, because they require to come visit to get the visa, and all that requires a lot of prior testing and documentation. So she's been doing a lot of that stuff.
Mhm.
Is John Real going to be coming with her when she eventually does come to the US? Or is he going to be coming at a later time?
First, we're gonna have Sheila fly out by herself, and then we'll get married, and then we'll start working on getting her son out here.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem is the cost is it's so expensive to get tickets to fly out.
Of course, of course. So then another question is, would you go on another rendition of the 90-day show?
Yeah, I would be willing to do it again. I mean, it just depends on what they say. If they said, you know, they wanted to have us on again, maybe when Sheila flies here, they could do another segment, but we're waiting on whether they're wanting to do that or not.
That would
So they
be
haven't,
incredible.
I would watch it. I mean, I watch
Of
all of them anyway, but this would be just my
course.
absolute favorite to see you on Happily Ever After.
Or even before that, just to go on the 90 Day Fiancé show. And then you could do Happily Ever After afterwards. We would all
I
love to
mean,
see that.
that would be incredible. That excites me greatly.
Yeah, um, it was kind of surprising to me, you know, how much work it was to get on the show. I did the interview and all of that stuff. Like, when you watch the show, you think it'd be really easy, but it really was a lot more than I would have expected.
Are you a fan of the show yourself? Do you watch it?
And every so often, yeah.
Yeah.
I watched, yeah, I've watched it. I like it. It's a fun show.
Are you watching Before the 90 Days right now, since that is the show that you were on?
Yeah, yeah, I watched that one.
Do you
And
have a
what's your
favorite
opinion
couple?
on
Do you have a favorite couple?
Well, I mean, obviously of all the couples, I'm me and Sheila, but second of all, I also like Big Bed. Is that everyone wants to make sure yeah, BED bed. To make sure I'm getting that right. Is that correct? Big Bed. You know who he is.
Oh, Big Ed?
Yes.
I
Yeah, I like Big Ed.
So are
never
you
would have
friends
expected
with
that.
Big Ed? Do you know him?
No, no, we've never met. I think, if we're on the show or something again, yeah, I think we definitely could meet for sure.
Mm-hmm. Are you friends
So,
with anybody from the 90 Day Fiancé franchise?
Um, yeah, there was one guy. Oh, I forget who, but yeah, there's a couple people that we've kept up with, that we talk with still.
so David, how does it feel to be such a great representation of your disability on reality TV?
Um, yeah, I believe, he's great making history right now.
Absolutely incredible history.
Yeah, it looks like, oh,
Yeah, I mean, I feel really good
it
representing.
looks like you kind of paved the way for a lot of other people with disabilities to be on the show because this season alone, we have 3 cast members with disabilities. So it seems like you were one of the first to break down that barrier.
The frontier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that they had more people with disabilities on the cast. I mean, that's great. I mean, it's totally normal to have a disability, and it's great that they're including more people with disabilities on the show.
Absolutely.
I agree. What would you say to those who are thinking about going on reality TV, those that do have disabilities?
Yeah, I think they should definitely do it. I think it's a great idea to get involved and be on TV.
What do you think was the biggest challenge on being on a reality TV show um, with your disability? What was the biggest challenge?
Communication was the biggest challenge. That was hard, the show, communication on TV show, writing, texting, to communicate. That was the hard part.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Would you recommend? Oh,
And on the in the when we had we were in the Philippines, that was really hard to communicate because they use a different sign language there than we use in the U.S. So that added an extra layer of challenge.
Right.
would you recommend to anybody going on the 90 Day Fiancé show?
I mean, it's hard. I mean, I'm not sure. It depends on the person. I'm not sure I would universally recommend it, but for some people I would, you know. For me, I decided I wanted to do it, and so I just kind of applied, and you know, it's kind of it's like getting a job on TV. You just keep apply, and then eventually you'll get it.
Do
Do
you
you have
feel
any regrets, or is there anything that you would have done differently?
Well, when I interviewed before the show started, I was really unsure, you know, and I just kind of tried to do my best because, you know, I thought it'd be good to have a deaf person on the show, and
Mhm.
um, then that's what they did.
David, do you feel like 90 Day cast members are fairly compensated for the amount of work they do?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's really not a lot of money in it. It's just a small amount, really. It wasn't very much.
When we've looked into how much the 90,
You know, it wasn't very much money, and really we weren't doing it for the money. It's important things on TV and representing different types of people on TV. So yeah, it wasn't very much, but that wasn't really the primary reason for doing it.
but did they help with any other costs, like maybe plane tickets or something like that?
No, no, they didn't pay for hotel. They didn't pay for plane or anything. We had to pay for it.
Wow.
I was under the impression that they actually did pay for your flights and your accommodations while you were out there, so I'm really surprised to hear that that's not the case.
Yeah, I thought that was the case as well, and then I found out that they actually didn't. Um, and yeah, I know you can find information online about it. Other people have had similar experiences where they don't actually pay for any sort of transportation, hot flights, hotels, or anything.
Mhm.
Interesting. I feel like they would want to help out in that capacity if they're going to be filming the whole thing.
Yeah, I know, but no, they didn't pay for. Unfortunately, TLC didn't pay for my flight to the Philippines.
Perhaps
Has
we
any
should petition TLC to start paying for those flights. I mean, at least for you, if and when you're back on the show, fingers crossed.
Yeah, I know. Fingers crossed, but I don't. I'm not expecting too much. I think that's just their policy.
Yeah,
They should make
has
an exception.
they should. Has anybody from the production team approached you about being on another show?
No, right now I'm just kind of waiting to hear and see if they have anything else for me.
Well, wouldn't it be lovely if they filmed and paid for Sheila coming over here and seeing how she does with the transition and settling into the States and and what that looks like for you.
Yeah, I kind of hope they do. I mean, I definitely, I'm not keeping my hopes up, holding my hopes out for getting them to buy that plane ticket though.
Amy, do you have any other questions?
I don't I don't think so. I feel like I'm gonna have like 500 as soon as we log off of here, but
Well, I know we want to know when Sheila's going to be here, but nobody can answer that. We understand that you don't have an answer to that question. And
Yeah, I know. I don't know when she's gonna be here. I just really don't know. We're just waiting on the interview right now, and that's really the next step.
mhm. And I don't remember from when we were watching your season or not if there was a possibility that you and Sheila could have gotten married in the Philippines. Would that have sped up the process for you?
Yeah, so the thing was, if we had gotten married in the Philippines, we would have to wait for 5 years to get approval for a
Right.
visa. And so we didn't want to do that. If she comes here, it should take 2 years or less. And then if we get married here, we could always fly back to the Philippines and get married there with her family.
Okay. How is Sheila's dad doing?
He's doing well. He's still doing well.
Mm-hmm. Because it was very sad when you were there that Sheila lost her mom. And I remember talking to Amy about how we were concerned that if Sheila was going to be moving to the US, that her dad would be all alone in the Philippines. Are there any plans to bring him over at some point as well?
Uh, No, well, he wouldn't be alone in the Philippines because he has other other children there who would be supportive of him.
Okay.
so is Sheila still living in the house that you were helping to pay fix up, or have they moved?
No, still in that house, still fixing it up, still making improvements on it.
Okay.
Are you still helping to pay for those renovations?
Yes. Hmm.
Good for you.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
still sending money over to Sheila. Yeah.
Hmm.
Any other questions from you, B?
No, I think I'm just starstruck. You know me. Like, I'm talking to David, of David and Sheila. You're such an inspiration to us, David. It's been fabulous talking to you, but it was also wonderful when you reached out and just said that you would like to talk to us because we are really big fans. But we also feel like it's so important to the 90-day community to be representative of everybody and also to be representative of those people who are in real relationships rather than ones who are in relationships just for the sake of being on television. So
The
you,
contrived ones.
yeah.
Yeah, and I've noticed it's just, it's so hard to tell when you're watching, people really, whether they're really in a relationship or they're just doing it on TV for TV purposes, it's hard to tell. But yeah, for sure, me and Sheila are really, really in a relationship for real.
And I remember when B told me that you had sent her a message, and she was like, "Is this real?" I'm like, "I hope it is." So I started to do some digging. I'm like, "Well, it's a verified account. It obviously has to be real." But had you asked me when we first started this podcast if there was anyone in the franchise that I would ever want to interview, and you and Sheila would have been my absolute number one. So we are absolutely honored to have you on our podcast tonight. Thank you so, so much.
Oh, sure, of course. And yeah, of course. Happy to be here.
Do you have any more questions, B?
No, I don't. I just really want to express my gratitude. Thank you, David. It was been such a pleasure talking with you.
Yeah, of course. It's been nice meeting you guys.
So we
And
wanted to take, sorry, I was just going to say, we wanted to take this time to thank David again, and his team for making all of this work, and special thanks um, to the translator. Um, it's been an honor having you on our show with us tonight, and we wish you and Sheila and your families nothing but the best in the future, and hopefully we'll be seeing you on our TVs again soon.
Definitely. Thank you.
so we've just finished our talk with David Dangerfield, and it was great.
It was so exciting.
It was very exciting. I think the thing that I liked the most about the interview was that David is just so calm and relaxed,
Genuine.
exactly as he was on the TV show. So we know that, yeah, he's who he represents himself to be, which is, for me, it's a thrill.
Yeah, absolutely. I had no doubts that he is who he is, but it was just so mind-blowing to see it in person and to actually have that dialogue with him like that. I'm still floored. Like it's going to take me a while to actually digest this.
Was there anything that surprised you about talking to him?
Well, first of all, I was surprised that they don't pay for tickets.
Oh, yeah.
I honestly thought that that's how it worked, which begs to question, how could Lauren afford to fly to the Philippines?
Yeah, that's good
Like, I
questions.
had so many questions, but it wasn't necessarily like for David, so I bit my tongue. So that really surprised me. I was very happy to hear that he and Sheila are working on getting her over here, and that it should be happening somewhat soon. I was surprised that he had to apply to the show 3 different times before he was accepted.
That really shocked me. That was so shocking because it's so clear that he's an honest person. And with so many people going to the show who apply, who are, clout chasers and people who just want as many social media followers as they can. They want their 15 minutes of fame. You would think that he would stand out so well above the rest of the crowd. And yet they didn't choose him. And I wonder if the choice not to bring him onto the show until 3 years afterwards was due to his disability. And they thought maybe it would just be too difficult for them to film with somebody who uses sign language. We'll never know.
And he did say that it was somewhat difficult because, the translator was behind the camera. And that was another thing that surprised me, was that they asked him like 100 questions and then played piecemeal throughout the season to throw that. I thought that it was so interesting.
Yeah.
So interesting.
It does shed a little bit of a dark light on the production of the show, that they don't really compensate their cast members very well, that there are no extra benefits like paying for plane tickets or hotel rooms. And as we know already, a lot of the show is scripted. They attempt to bring that element of theater or drama into everybody's timelines, but sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And clearly the times that they may have attempted to do that in David and Sheila's story did not work, because they are just genuine, nice, good people. And you can't create a fake drama around that kind of situation.
You can't. And especially like, because I'm thinking about Patrick and Thais when they had the drinks with Jean and the drama that ensued from that. And I don't think that either David nor Sheila would ever have someone like that in their lives who would be willing to throw a drink in someone else's face. So you can't like make up that kind of drama. There's just no place in that in their lives, and I think that that's incredible.
Yeah.
But I would be very, very, very excited if they brought them back for the 90-day, because it's going to be a K1, right?
Yep.
So if they brought them back for the 90-day and then happily ever after, I think that would be incredible.
It would be awesome. And that's why I was so surprised when I asked him if anybody had been in touch with him from 90 Day, and he said no. What are they doing? Get to work, people. We need a new season of 90 Day. We need a new season of HEA. And we would like them to have real people who we actually like.
Wouldn't
Please.
that be amazing?
That would be so lovely. Well, the interview did end a little bit abruptly, but I just wanted to let our listeners know that if you're able to make a contribution, no matter what the size, please consider visiting David's GoFundMe page and join Amy and me in making a contribution to his future home. Because I think we can all agree David and Sheila richly deserve a home together in the US. They worked really hard for it.
100%. And it was nice that he said that it's not just for a home, it's for, legal fees and everything. Like, I'm not surprised that the legal fees are quite excessive when it comes to doing the K1. But, out of every single couple that I've ever seen on the show, they are my absolute favorite. And I think that they need our help more than anyone else.
I hear you, and I agree with you 100%. I have not contributed to anybody else's GoFundMe in all of the 90 Day cast, whichever ones have GoFundMes going. But this one, I thought, yeah, he deserves it. She deserves it. And I really hope it ends up doing them some good.
I've never donated to a GoFundMe before this. So
yeah. So we're all learning.
I'm totally fine with David and Sheila being the first.
I think it's a good first to have. Was there anything else that you wanted to mention before we close this beautiful and fun episode?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I am still like stupidly excited about this whole thing. My brain can't fathom that this was a thing. Like, even when you messaged me the first time saying that you got a message from him, and I was like, what? Wait, what? Huh? Us? What?
90 Day Fiancé, honestly.
And then, now that it's happened, it's like, well, are we going to do another one? And also, are we going to go and visit David?
Well, I think that was an invitation for us to go and have shots with him.
I don't think that was on the recording, but yes, I would go. I've never been to Nebraska before.
Let's go. When Sheila comes, we should go to welcome her.
Fun. And that'll give us time to brush up on our
ASL.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I just got a few words down, not many, but I got a long way to go.
I've got a couple, and I'm very glad that my sister has been teaching my niece sign language, so I've picked up quite a few things from her. Obviously not enough to carry on an entire conversation with David, but I think, give us 6 months to a year and we might be good. Yeah. If not before that. But I think that would be so fun. So yes, to our listeners, he didn't use the words, "You're welcome to come visit me," but
we're interpreting this in a very, very broad way, okay? He just said he likes shots.
He said he would do shots with us, is what he said. Either way, he has no idea.
We're invited. We're invited. We're going to Nebraska. That's it. That's all.
Let's go. Let's go. I think I have enough Aeroplan points.
Let's wait for the news first that Sheila's here, and then we'll go.
Well, I hope for both of them that it happens sooner rather than later because they deserve to be together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love their story so much.
Yeah.
So much. What about you? Do you have any final thoughts?
Any final thoughts? No, I do not. I am content and happy, and I'm really glad that we got to learn a little bit more about him.
Me
That's
too.
it.
Me too. I'm glad that we got to ask all those questions, and I hope that we asked all the questions that our listeners wanted answers to. But if there are any follow-up questions, I'm happy to continue this conversation with him. Oh, I'm so giddy.
Nobody's sleeping tonight.
I have a big day tomorrow.
I know. As always, before we go, if you're enjoying the 90 Day Fiancé Honestly podcast, please subscribe to or give our show a follow. And if you have an additional moment, please rate us and help other 90 Day fans to find our show. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone.